Well, Tony-Szamboti, a mechanical engineer and part of Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth, now with over 1,200 members worldwide, as our guest, along with somebody else who really doesn't need any introduction. He's been a guest on this broadcast before. He's a great lover of liberty, former American football offensive lineman in the National Football League, Mark-Stepnoski, career in the NFL, spent with the Dallas Cowboys, where he won, 2 Super Bowls, and, of course, 5-time Pro Bowler. Doesn't get any better than that. And it's great having Mark with us. But I tell you, not only did I grow up in Dallas and a fan of the Dallas Cowboys growing up, I have to admit now that all I do is fight the globalist. I can't even really enjoy a football game anymore. All I think about is this stuff. But I'm even a bigger fan of Mark, not just for his determination on the football field, but how that same spirit translates into standing up many years ago when it wasn't as popular to talk about 9/11 truth. But he saw the evidence, he did it. And the same thing goes for our engineer friend, Mr. Szamboti. Now, they're going to make a big announcement here today. Mark-Stepnoski stepping up to the plate yet again. I'm honored that 5-6 months ago, they launched the Building What campaign here on this show. And my listeners donated the lion's share of the original money to put the Building What campaign, dealing with Building 7 that nobody knows about, on New York TV. Since then, it's been covered by hundreds of newspapers, dozens and dozens of international TV networks. Geraldo Rivera has now had Mr. Szamboti and also one of the fathers of someone who died on his show, and said that now he sees that 9/11 truth, Bob McIlvaney, that now this should be investigated and that he's suspicious of Building 7. But even more, and this was covered by CNN even, this was covered by George Soros' people attacking this show and attacking him and calling for his firing. Judge Andrew Napolitano, the co-host of Glenn Beck on his TV show, the guy with his own show on Fox Business with Lou Dobbs, came on this show without my prompting a month ago and said the official story of 9/11 is impossible and that it should be seen as the JFK assassination as a fraud. And the system has come after him, and you notice he hadn't been fired because this is becoming the mainstream view. We have major polls like the New York Times, Angus and Reid, where 83% don't believe the official story. Kennedy assassination polls are upwards of 90% believe the official story is a lie. And it's because of people's courage, like Andres von Bülow, the former head of German defense, coming out and saying it was an inside job. The former Italian president coming out. The number 3 in the Japanese government coming out on this show saying inside job. Because of so many family members and prominent people and emergency first responders and police officers that survived, the evidence is coming out. 6 of the 10 9/11 Commission are saying it's all a lie and a fraud. Mr. Farmer, the head lawyer, saying it's a, quote, criminal cover-up by the Pentagon. Ventura coming out, his show. I mean, and believe me, they've gone through a lot of harassment and intimidation over that. Homeland Security is trying to shut the show down. You heard Ventura 2 weeks ago break the news here that they have banned the police state episode. I mean, this is a big issue. And it's about honor. It's about courage. And so, Mark-Stepnoski, do you want to make the announcement here on the show today of what you've announced you're going to do this week?
Certainly, yeah. I've pledged $10,000 to this second round of the Building What campaign in order to pay to have these commercials appear on the air again in New York City. So, hopefully your listeners will respond like they did before and be willing to put a little bit of their money into the pot and try to do what corporate television won't do, and that's show this building collapse on TV so that people can get a look at it, some of them for the first time, and maybe it'll affect their judgment about what happened that day.
Now, Mark, and then I want to get Tony's take on this. For those that don't know, because we're on so many M and FM stations, there's new folks tuning into this for the first time right now. What does the Building What campaign deal with? Why is it called Building What?
Deals solely with Building 7, the third tower. They collapsed on 9/11 at about 5:20 in the afternoon. The people responsible for this campaign and for getting these television commercials on the air is NYC CAN, New York City Coalition for Accountability Now. They attempted a couple years ago to have this issue considered by the City Council of New York. They wanted to present this issue, have witnesses, and somehow spur a separate investigation by City Council in New York. And during that time period, when one of the members of NYC CAN mentioned Building 7 while addressing the judge for the city, his comment was, "Building what?" Because, like many people, apparently he wasn't familiar with that building or the fact that it collapsed that day. So that kind of, in a nutshell, crystallizes public opinion about this issue and the lack of information and the lack of awareness about what happened to Building 7. So that is how it became the name of the campaign.
Well, it's beautiful, and we're going to give folks the URL out in a moment to the Building What website. We're also going to play the original ad. But, Mark, I'm telling you, this campaign was a lot more successful than I even thought it would be. When I asked my listeners, you know, if they believed in it, to donate to it up front with that original seed money, and then others joined in, I wasn't sure it would have any effect at all, but I knew that laying down would certainly be ineffective. I mean, what's the old saying that winners never quit and quitters never win, or you can say it the other way, that that quitters never win and winners never quit. But certainly now it's caused a chain reaction. BBC, RT, Al Jazeera, Fox, CNN, and it clearly spurred courage for Geraldo Rivera. I won't play it again because of time constraints, but he said, "Wow, I've now met with a family who lost their son. These engineers, Building 7, very suspicious. This needs to be looked into. I'm suspicious. This is legitimate." And then Napolitano on Fox, of all places, to step up with even more courage, and now they've tried to get him fired. We need to stand with him. I mean, this isn't a game here, but I'm really very surprised and very happy at just how effective the Building What campaign has been. So I want to salute everybody involved with it, and of course you, Mark, and Mr. Szamboti, and everybody else, because we're having an effect here, and the system's got to be scared. Mark, what's your take on that?
Well, I agree. I think the people at NYC CAN deserve a lot of credit. You know, they have worked hard on this issue for years. They have refused to let this issue die. That has mainly come about as a result of the dedication of not only the family members, the remaining family members who are involved with NYC CAN, but all the other institutions and all the other groups of people that are involved. The firefighters, the pilots, like you mentioned, the architects and the engineers, former military and intelligence people. There's a whole lot of credibility behind this movement, and it's not, you know, you have all the different areas represented. You have people whose family members were involved. You have people whose background involves expertise in these areas. Everyone who has reason to be skeptical has joined forces in this group to come together to kind of pierce the censorship bubble that has existed around, you know, the collapse of Building 7. As you mentioned earlier, internationally now, for several years, there has been quite a bit of skepticism about the official story of 9/11, and there have been people around the world in leadership positions who have spoken out and have expressed their skepticism. I think, fortunately, what this campaign has done here in New York has kind of enabled that to happen to a certain extent in America. Because of the media blackout regarding some of the truths of September 11th, I think the public and certainly some politicians have been slow to react compared to what's going on in other countries. But fortunately, it looks like thus far these commercials have served as an impetus to get people to kind of shrug off their apathy and address this issue and look at it with new eyes, so to speak, and hopefully try to do something about it.
So it's almost like some big offensive linemen breaking open a hole so that the truth, that running back can run right through and get a touchdown.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's when you have the truth on your side, it's only a question of time before it comes out. I mean, if you have dedicated people who feel strongly about this issue, who are not going to go away, they have, like I said, for many reasons, a lot of people involved behind this campaign have a lot of incentive to see it succeed. And fortunately, all that dedication and years of hard work is yielding some results right now, which is very encouraging. And that's why I continue to be involved, because, you know, in light of the effect that this has had, everybody who is part of it would certainly like to see it continue.
Well, we're going to come back with Mark Stepnoski and, of course, mechanical engineer Tony-Szamboti. Just absolutely amazing. We'll also look back at Building 7 and why it's so important, and the key to exposing the cover-up and the fraud that is 9/11, and how 9/11's now been used for the naked body scanners, the threat fusion centers, the police state, all these illegal wars, and where the Building What campaign is going next. But it's had a huge effect, and we've never been making this much progress for 9/11 Truth. The system is really scared. We'll also talk to Mark and Tony about why they had the courage to go public, you know, why they're doing it. I mean, I know why deep down. I can answer their question for them, because they can't stand corruption. They can't stand lies. They have a sense of justice. We'll discuss it all with these patriots on the other side. Stay with us.